Hello everyone and welcome to today's session number 4 of the Banking Excellence Badge. Today's session is going to be all about revolutionising your banking with bank feeds. This session will last approximately 45 minutes depending on how many questions we have outstanding at the end. My name is Abby and I'm going to be your host for this afternoon. We also have Jackie, Michael and Matt on hand to answer your questions, so don't hesitate to keep them busy. So just before we start the session, just want to cover some housekeeping. So what you'll see when you join is that you will be placed on mute automatically. If you have any questions to ask, you can use the questions panel down the right-hand side of your screen by clicking the option that looks like a little speech bubble with the question mark in the middle. We do also have a handout for today. You can download this by clicking on the button that looks like a little document with the folded corner, as it will have some helpful links to our help centre as well. Just a reminder, this webinar is recorded. It will be included in your follow-up email around an hour after the session has ended. Okay, so welcome to those who are new to the badging sessions, and welcome back to those who have earned other digital badges with us with Sage 50 accounts. So to earn your digital badge, you need to attend 6 out of the 8 sessions and the quiz to earn your digital badge. So we've done these in the past. People like to use them on their email signature, might be on social media, share it with their colleagues, their clients, their customers, to show that you're more proficient with your Sage 50 accounts software. So as you can see, we've got 8 sessions covering various areas of processing with your bank in the software. Again, today we are going to be focusing on the bank feeds feature. Now, some of you may not have heard of that before. So some of you may have heard it, not really sure how you use it or what it's for, but that's what we're going to be covering today. If you do want to get registered for any of the sessions, if you've got the handout downloaded, you can click register now in the bottom right-hand corner of your handout. Alternatively, like I said, the links will be included in your follow-up email. Okay, so this is what we're going to be covering on today's webinar. So we're going to be looking at what are bank feeds, followed by identifying whether you need to use manual feeds or automatic, and what is the difference. Now, I won't be showing you how to set up bank feeds today, as we do have a full dedicated session towards the end of February. I think it's around the 24th. So this session will be very top level, giving you an insight into the feature and how it may benefit your business. I will demonstrate the fundamentals of bank feeds and how you can use bank feeds rules to automate a lot of your processing. Now, don't feel pressured that you have to set this feature up today and start using it straight away. This feature does not necessarily work for everybody, but there is no harm in setting it up and trying it, as it won't have any impact on your data. Towards the end of the session, I will also be providing some support resources towards the end that may help you if you want to get set up straight away. We're going to provide you some guides as well. Okay, so what are bank feeds? So bank feeds is a tool that you use alongside your bank reconciliation feature. So if you attended Michael's session this morning, that was all about how you do your bank reconciliation in the software within the bank module. The bank feeds can actually speed up that process by using automation. So it can actually make the process a bit quicker, and then it'll take you straight to your reconciliation screen once you've matched all the relevant transactions. The bank feeds enables you to either download transactions from your bank or import them if your bank's not compatible. Again, I'm going to be covering that shortly. You can match these bank transactions against existing Sage transactions. You can create new transactions from the downloaded bank transactions. And you can create and manage bank feeds rules for transactions to automatically post into the software. Now, and often a misconception of bank feeds is that it will send information to your bank. Bank feeds is a one-way link, so information is not going to be sent from your Sage 50 account software into your bank. It just, if you're using downloaded, your automatic bank feeds, it will just pull that information down. Let's take a look at what it might look like if you're reconciling your bank account using the normal reconcile window in the bank module, or you might be doing it outside of the software. So you may be accessing your statements online, printing them off, or you may receive them via post. You may have a lot of transactions, so your statements are long, or you may have a few months worth of reconciling to do if it's been a busy period, which could lead to a lot of paperwork on around the desk. You'll be cross-referencing what's in your Sage software, or creating new transactions and looking at the right statement, looking on the page, and then ticking them off as you go. When using bank feeds, all that information is displayed in one place on the screen. No need for printed statements or flicking between browsers or PDF documents, then back to the Sage software. You can match the downloaded transactions from your bank to either existing Sage transactions, create new ones with the click of a button, or you can create rules to post them automatically for you. Then once you've matched all the relevant transactions, it will take you to the normal bank reconcile screen that you may be familiar with, and all your matched transactions will already be in the matched section on the bottom half of the bank reconciliation window. Okay, so if your bank supports automatic feeds, then the software will download your transactions automatically. In version 30.1, a manual option has been introduced. So this allows users to import the bank transactions into the bank feeds, providing the same functionality as automatic feeds. Now, the reason that you might use a manual is that an automatic feed may not be supported with your bank. And also as well, you've got the flexibility of being able to import any date range as far back as you can download your transactions from your bank account. With automatic, so the option on the right, so this is where the software will download the bank transactions automatically for you from the bank feed service. You can also use the import feature in the automatic option, but I'll not go into detail with that one, as that is covered again in our full sessions. But once you have set them up, whether it be manual or automatic way, the matching and creating process is all the same. So what we'll do now is we'll pop into the software and we'll do some demonstration. You can see what this will look like in the software. Okay, so in the later versions, we've improved the bank feeds. So now bank feeds will show down the left-hand side of your software, just under bank accounts. If you don't see it here, it could be that it's been hidden, i.e., when you right-click, it's been hidden from the list here. It could be down to your level of access, or again the version that you're on. So we're in bank feeds module. I've got an automatic bank set up here. You can see it says connected. So I'm going to open this up. And this is what the bank feeds will look like. So you've got your how many you've got confirmed, your last date that was downloaded. And also you can include bank transactions. You've got some filters along the top. So the bank feeds is made up of 3 tabs. You've got your auto match tab, your to be matched tab, and your Confirm tab. So this is the Auto Match tab. So this is when a transaction is downloaded from the bank. The software will then detect if there are any existing Sage transactions that could be a potential match using the value and date give or take 4 days. You can unmatch these unmatch these transactions if they are incorrect, as again they are just suggestions. So all you would need to do is you would just either click confirm or unmatched, and then what they'll do is that these transactions will then just move back to the to be matched tab. If I click confirm, it will disappear from the list, and you can see it's now appearing in the confirm tab at the end. If you find that you've got transactions in here, this will appear in auto matched and to be matched. You can simply click on the transaction. You can see you've got your bank transactions on the left, and your Sage transactions on the right. If you highlight, you can then click to ignore. Again, I'm going to come more into that in the to be matched tab, and I'll show you how those work as well. So that's your auto matched. So you'll find that this will speed up. If you've got transactions again with the same date, you could come in here and you could find that a lot of your transactions actually already appear as a suggested batch. So you can just literally go through, and if you've got quite a lot or you want to select all, you can confirm all or select a couple, confirm selection. You don't have to go through and click confirm individually on each tile. Next, we've got the to be matched tab. So in here is where you have your remaining transactions which have not been detected by the auto match tab. So again, your downloaded or imported transactions will show on the left, and your Sage transactions will show on the right. Now, transactions will only appear in here if you have processed them into the software. So these are transactions that have been inputted into Sage and now appear in my bank feeds. So what we'll do is we'll have a look for some transactions. So let's just see, we'll do invoice. And we'll just put invoice in here. So you can see I'm using the search function, and I can actually search for transactions on either side. So what you can do is, I'm going to pick these two here. You can actually drag and drop. So you can see I've got a green line in between the two transactions. Because that balance is going to match, they're both worth £86. When I drag and drop, it then moves to the confirm tab for me. We'll look for another transaction. So let's have a look for a bank fee. We'll do the same on this side. You can also select on each side, and then at the top, you can click match selection. So it's entirely up to you which way you want to work, whether you want to drag and drop, you want to select, you have got the option there as well. So you click match selection, you can see it's then gone to the confirm tab again. You might find as well that you've got transactions, quite a big value. So for example, let's just have a look. We'll get a transaction. Let's, for example, just choose this one. We've got one worth 2,103. So let's just say, okay, well, we've got this transaction here. Let's just say this one is also related to this transaction. I'm going to drag and drop. You can see it's now appeared orange on this side. And we've got a little icon here that says part matched. So that's because the value hasn't been reached. But what you can do is you can click create. And then what it's doing, it's giving me the option to create a transaction for that value, for that remaining value. So I can choose from bank receipt, customer receipt, supply refund, or a bank transfer. Let's just say I'm going to do customer receipt. You click create transaction. I'll choose an account. Let's just say I don't have an invoice on there at the moment, but I'll just create a payment on account for now. You can enter in a reference if you need to. And then all you need to do is click Save. So you can see it's just bringing up the normal customer receipt window that you'll be familiar with. So just tell me that's going to be a payment on account. I'm happy for that. So I'll just click Yes. So you can see now, I've now got 4 confirmed. So every time that balance, as soon as that balance matches, it moves for that to that Confirm tab. You can also create transactions. So if there isn't one that exists on this right-hand side, we can also create one for in here. So let me just have a look. Let's just say this one. So let's just say I'm going to create this for my gas electric. So I'm just going to click Create. I'm going to create a bank payment. I'm going to click Create Transaction. I'm going to put in the reference as gas and electric. And I'm just going to put the nominal code electricity. And we'll come back to this transaction. It comes as part of the rules as well. So we'll click Save on that one. And you can see I've now got 5 there waiting in my Confirm tab. Just before we move on to the Confirm tab, I just want to bring up the Ignore transactions again. So for example, it might be that you have reconciled transactions outside of bank feeds already, or it might be duplicates. So what you can do, doesn't matter what you can do it on the bank transaction side and the Sage side. You can just highlight the transaction, click Ignore Selection, and it will hide it from the main list. Now there might be occasions where you've done that in error. So to get that back, you just simply click the 3 little dots along the top and click View Ignored. It will post a filter on, it will, like I say, you've got options for filters in here. So I'll just say in the last year, just so we can bring it up. And you can see it'll appear, your Sage transactions will appear on this side, and again, your bank transactions will appear on this side. Now, you can't delete them from their list, they will just sit in this list, so you can't clear this out, but you can restore it back in if it's been ignored in error. So you just click Restore, and it will reappear in the list for you to match. Okay, next, so we'll move into the Confirm tab. So in here, you will see all of your match transactions. Got a really good question that just come through that I do want to just bring up here. So we do get this question quite a lot on these bank feed sessions. So are the bank transactions downloaded in real time, or will it not download the current day's transactions? So it's dependent on your provider, how often they want to send a feed to the bank feed service. Some banks may send a couple of feeds a day, so then you could just click the download button here. Alternatively, it might be that they just send once per day, so you would have to wait until the following day for them to send the next feed. But if you do want to find out that information, we usually recommend you go back to your provider, as we won't hold that information. Okay, so let's continue with the Confirm tab. So we've got the match transactions here. Again, you've got the bank transactions on your left, and you've got the Sage transactions appearing on the right. So it's very consistent throughout. You can use the search function if you've got a very long list that you've matched and you want to have a quick look at something. You can also search within here as well. You've also got the option to export a list if you want to export all the transactions that you have confirmed. And again, you can unmatch any transactions at this point as well. It might be that you realise that you've actually matched incorrectly. So what you can do is you can just highlight, and then you can unmatch in the top right. And what that'll do is that'll just pop them back into the to be matched tab for you to rematch those at a later date. Now, if you were to just exit out of bank feeds without saving, everything will be automatically unmatched. However, any transactions you created within the bank feeds will still have been posted into the audit trail. So if you were then to come back in to the bank feeds, you might actually find that they go automatically into the auto match tab if the date is around, within 4 days. Alternatively, they will just go back to the to be matched tab again. If you click save and close, any transactions that appear in the confirm tab will then be automatically moved to the normal bank reconciliation window that you may be familiar with. Then when you're ready to reconcile at a later date, the transactions will already appear in the bottom half of the window. If you select Save and Continue to Reconcile, it will move all the confirmed transactions and it will take you straight into the Reconcile window. Now, I don't want to do it at this point, as we are going to be going through some bank feeds rules. Okay, so that is essentially the bank feeds functionality. It allows you to create new transactions, download or import transactions, create new, and if that part matched, you can create new transactions for the extra value or the value to make it up, or you can just create them directly from there. Now what we're going to do is we're going to pop back to the slides and we'll have a look at the bank feeds rules. Again, do keep your questions coming. Like you say, we do have Michael, Jackie and Matt on hand to answer your questions today. Okay, so with bank feeds rules, so this is where transactions can be created automatically. You do have the option to choose to approve before posting, or you can, if you're confident with what's going to be posted, you can tick it and it will post automatically for you. What you to create rules, it's based on your matched transactions. So you will do this from the confirmed tab. And I'm going to show you that shortly in the demonstration. You can assign nominal codes, tax codes, customers and suppliers. You can split transactions, but that will be over nominal codes only. So when you create a bank transaction, that you can split your transactions. So for example, you want it to go to your electricity nominal code and then also your gas nominal code. I'm going to show you how to do that shortly. Now, you cannot create rules for bank transfers or foreign transactions. And you can create a maximum of 300 rules per bank feed. So you might want to have a couple of your bank accounts set up on bank feeds. You can set up 300 rules per bank. So what we'll do now is we'll pop back into the software and we'll have a look at what it looks like to create a rule and how to manage those rules as well. So we'll pop back to the software. Okay, so I've got my confirmed transactions here. I'm going to use this one here, which was my transaction that I created for my gas and electric. You highlight the relevant transaction and you click Create Rule in the top right-hand corner. Now this will only appear in the Confirmed tab. So you have to have matched the transactions to be able to create the rule. One thing I do want to make very clear is when you create a rule, from a transaction, it will only apply to newly downloaded transactions. So if you create this today, so if I create this today, it will not then work, like say, straight away. It'll be when it is next downloaded from the bank that it will create a transaction for me. Now it pulls the date from the information from the transaction. So you've got the date, which bank account, what the reference is. So this might be my gas, my utilities account number. And then I've got the amount. You want to give the rule a name. So let's just say gas and electric. And then you've got your criteria here. So you've got your reference, amount, day of the month, check number, account number, and sort code. Now you can choose however many you want to apply. So for example, you might, if you're using customers or suppliers, you might have their account number and sort code that you on their record, and it might pull that through. So then every time it detects that bank account that's transferred you money, you can do it that way. The same as the day of the month. Anytime you see a little green icon here, you can click on there, and it'll tell you the value, and it should be the transaction date, not the posting date. So there's little helpful tips along the way to help you with the process. Now, what I'm going to do is you can choose, depending on the type of transaction it is, and how it's going to be based on the criteria. So, for example, my gas and electric, I know that my price can fluctuate. So I might not necessarily want to go by the amount, but I know my reference is always going to be my account number. So you can use that option. And when you choose these options, you can also see if that we've got drop down. So it might be equals, contains, does not contain. If you choose amount, it could be equals, greater than or equal to, less than or less than equal to. So it's a bit like those filters. So for this example, I am just going to use my reference. Now it's already detected the type of transaction it is. Because it's a bank transaction, it's detected automatically that it is a nominal. Now as default, it'll say no split, but for this occasion, I am going to split this transaction. Because I've chose the reference, it's only given me the option to split by percentage. If I chose a value as my criteria, it would then also give me the option if I wanted to split by value. So this time we're going to split by percentage. It's already detected the nominal code from the original transaction. Now percentage, so you can see we've got a box here. So I'm just going to type in electricity is usually higher. So we'll go for 70%. If you've got departments, you can choose a department in there. You've got your reference again, which automatically pulls from the original transaction. I'm going to pop gas and electric in here as well. And then also you've got your project and cost code if you use those as well. Now, because I've got a percentage left over, so I've got remaining 30, it's given me the option to add another split. So we'll click that. It'll give me another section. So I'm going to click on the drop down. I'm going to then change to my gas one. Now you can split this more than twice. So it might be that you want to, split this 20 and then do another split. Alternatively, you can press this little rotating arrow and it'll just pop in the remaining amount. Again, you go through in here. I'm actually going to change that because I realize that's the electric part. So we're going to put electric in there, and then we're going to put gas in here. So then we can differentiate which one's electric and which one's gas. Again, project cost code, if you fill those in. And then this part at the bottom is very important. So this is where you want to either review your transactions before posting or automatically post the transactions without approval. So the second option is where as soon as it's downloaded from the bank, it will then post that transaction automatically for you. There is also a setting where you can turn on where anything that's posted from a rule, it will automatically be bank reconciled. So I'm going to leave that as review transactions before posting, and then we click create. And that's my rule created. If I want to manage my rules, I'll click manage rules, and you can see this is where all your rules will appear. Again, the maximum you can have per bank is 300. So I might have one set up for Lloyds, I can have 300 rules set up for that feed, and then I might have one for Barclays, and then I can set up 300 feeds for that feed. But again, it's entirely you how you want to utilize this. You might want to do it for your utilities. It might be that you've got direct debit set up, like bank loans or things like that. So it's kind of, if you think if you're using recurring items, this kind of replaces recurring items. So it's a similar functionality, but you do have the option where it'll post it automatically for you without approval. Once the transaction has been downloaded, I'm just going to quickly show you what it will look like when you have an approval there to approve or reject. You can see now, I've now got a rule approvals tab appear in my software. So when you come into your bank feeds, this will appear per bank. So you'll go into one bank feed, and if you've got any approvals, it will show you as the first tab. In here, again, you can approve or reject any transactions. If you set your rules where none of them need approval, you will not get this tab appear. This only appears when you have rules that need approval before posting. Okay, so that is the bank feeds rules. Again, we do also have sessions coming up for the bank feeds rules where we go into a little bit more detail and more examples around what kind of examples that you might want to use the bank feeds rules for. What we'll do now is I'm going to pop back to my slides to summarize the session. Again, if you do have any questions, do pop them across to us and we'll get those answered. Okay, so to summarize, bank feeds can save you time and speed up your reconciliation process. Now, I know we had a question come through before. Let's see if I can find it. So let's have a look. So one of the questions came through was in addition to is this in addition to bank reconciliation, or do I reconcile after bringing the transactions in after matching in the bank feed? So you do the bank feeds first, you go through your bank feeds first, because then that should, when you go into your bank reconciliation window, everything should be matched in the bottom if you've used bank feeds for all of your reconciliation process. And then you would just use the bank reconciliation window to actually flag those transactions as reconciled. Now, this is free to use within your subscription. It is available on version 27 and above. Now, I'm trying to remember in which, I think it was version 29 is when it changed the look and feel to bank feeds. So if you're on version 29.0 and below, it may look a little bit different to what you've seen today. Again, like I say, it's free to use. You don't get a charge from us or the bank to use this option either. You can set up rules and automate your processing. Again, you can use you can approve it before it's posted or let it post automatically. Now, foreign banks are supported. Just when you are setting up your bank feeds, you just need to make sure when you're searching for your bank, if it is compatible, just make sure that you remember to choose the correct country. And lastly as well, you can import your transactions in version 30.1 if your bank is not compatible with automatic feeds. If you've got the handout downloaded, I have provided a link for the Bank Feeds Hub. Because we've got some time, I'll quickly show you that as well. Just bear with me a moment. I'll show you how to access that. So if I pop to my Help Center, and if we click on Working with the Bank, and we go to Other Banking Tasks, and we've got a bank feeds section here. So what are bank feeds, preparation tasks, how to set up, using bank feeds. So we've got all the support as well in the Help Center. We've got a dedicated hub all around the bank feeds as well. But again, if you've got the handout downloaded, there is a link on there for you to check out as well. Okay, so let's have a look to see if there's any outstanding questions or see if any questions I can pull out. Bear with me a moment. Okay, so everyone seems to be up to scratch with the questions. So again, if you do have any further questions, now is your chance to get those in. While we wait for any further questions, I just want to remind you, you do have to attend 6 out of the 8 sessions and the quiz to collect your badge. They will be hosted on the platform Accredible. So what I'll do now is I'll show you a short video on how this works. Okay, so just a couple of questions that have come through. One question there from Nicola, have investment portfolios with cash income deposit accounts, are feeds supported for this? So when you come to set up your bank feeds, if you're choosing automatic, it will prompt you to choose your bank from the window. If your bank does not show in that window, then it most likely won't be compatible, but it does give you the option to feed this back. So then, the more noise is made, the more likely it is to get added and become a compatible bank. Another question that comes through, do you have the link for the bank feed sessions? So if you're wanting to attend the full sessions, I'll quickly show you how you can find that on the Help Centre. Again, you are going to be provided with a link for the registration page. So if we just pop back to the Help Centre, I'm going to go into the 50 accounts, and then we're going to go into webinars along the very top. And then if we scroll down, we scroll past the banking ones, quite far down, and then at this section here, we've got other live webinars. We've got Bank Feeds Part 1, and that's all about setting up and processing your automatic feeds. If you want to get registered for that one, that's on the 24th of February at 2 p.m. And then part 2 is all about the bank feeds rules as well, where we go a little bit more in depth about the different types of rules that you could create as well. Okay, so another question that's just come through there from Ted. Do you need an administrator on bank to permit to use bank feeds? So not entirely sure on that one. I think you can set it up as long as you've got permissions. However, if you haven't got any connected services already activated, an email address will need to be, or like a Sage account will need to be linked to the manager logon. But the guides will show you all about how to set that up as well. Okay, so we'll start to wrap the session up. So, sorry, get me tongue-tied there. So I want to say thank you to you all for your participation today. If you've got any further questions, we'll stay around for at least a minute or so as we draw to a close. If you've got what you need today and you're going to leave the session, don't forget you're going to get a link to the registrations in your follow-up email as well with the recordings as well. You are going to receive an exit survey as you leave as well. We do always love to read those comments. So if you can just pop a comment on there for us, what you liked about the webinar, what you think we could have done better. We always do love to read all of those comments as well. Okay, so we'll just cover the last question. So there's one from Sophia there. Is there a webinar for how to import the bank statement? So if you're referring for the importing part of bank feeds, I'll quickly show you where you can find that recording. So on the same page where you can find the registrations, there's a section here near the top called View Previous Recordings. And then in here, you will see bank feeds, and you'll see Bank Feeds Part 3 Import Statement for version 30.1. Okay, so no further questions have come through. So I'll do is I'll wrap the session up. I want to say thank you to my colleagues who have been on hand today to answer your questions, but also thank you to you all for your participation. Just a reminder, we've got plenty of sessions over the next couple of weeks, so don't be shy and get registered. So I want to say another thank you and take care.